and welcome to Farming Simulator. Come on, load. Hello guys and gals, and welcome to we're going live. Hello guys and gals, and welcome to Farming Simulator 19. I'm Buddy 1927, and today I apologize, we are going a little late starting, and it's because I was setting up the XSplit. There was a new download and had XSplit all set up, ready to go, had the game ready to go, and my XSplit program froze. So I had to scramble and get my, which I wanted to try out and see if it works a little bit better. I had to get my Steam Labs up and going, so I do apologize for that. In today's episode, we are going to do a couple things. I'm in the process of setting up the fire, police, and EMS stations. We have one police headquarters, and we have 3 fire stations right now on the map. We are going to be later on adding a 4th fire station, making sure the whole city of Pleasant Valley is actually covered by fire, police, and ambulance. So, let's go ahead and go to the shop. I've added a whole bunch of stuff here. And first let's go to the shop. Hey Frank, how you? You doing okay? Oh, okay. My ambulances are here? Cool. Let's go ahead and get those set up. Okay, we got 4 ambulances set up right now for the county. And we'll go ahead and hop in this one, start it up. And we'll go ahead and I'll show you what I've done so far. I've added several factories and buildings that need to be constructed. Like that. We got one there, we got one here. These all require different goods which we need to actually start producing. So we actually need to get we have to start off with the lumber, we need to get boards, and then we need to start getting some other stuff and getting all this stuff ready. So I have several factories that are set up that we need to go ahead and get going. What is this? What does this need here? This is this is we need sugar and barrels, and it will produce whiskey. And we need corn and water. So this is our whiskey factory. I have not set up a but we got several factories going on here. And what is this? Pallets. Okay, so pallets go here, and we need to get all that going to get it up and running. So I've done a lot of work on the map in the past couple days. I still need to do some more work once we get these factories built and set up. Let's go over to here. We have a Wendy's over here. Of course, we got the KFC, but and I still got to fix this area up. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna put here. We got Taco Bell here. We got some more factories over here. We got a garden center. Let's start off with here. We got this garden center, which we need to go ahead and get some wax, some pallets, lard. We need lavender. We need peanut shells, so we gotta do our peanut factory. This is garden center. Need lavender over here. We need tobacco over here, and cotton over here. You know, these. I think this is a sell point. No, it's a factory that produces some goods, which I don't know what it produces. Let's see. I know this is a global company. Let's see what comes on over here. Okay, now let's bring this up. Lavender input and output. Okay, so this is storage for that stuff. Okay, and this must be storage over here. So we got wax. Oh, okay, no, we need wax and lavender, and makes candles over here. Fire logs, we need wax and peanut shells to produce fire logs. And soap, we need lard, lavender, and it makes soap. So we have some production over here, and we got some storage over there. So that's a couple things. This whole area is under development right now, so we need to go ahead and get our construction going. We got a Starbucks over here. We got a trading supply company, tractor supply, not trader supply, tractor supply. We got a Shell gas station, which we dump our fuel there, and we can refuel up at this gas station. We have a bank over here to place our gold once we get our mining up and running, which will be hopefully in the next couple days. Let's go over here. I still haven't found an American police station. So this is that says police, so this is the police station. Right now we got parade vehicle, parade crowd, event car here. We got a Ford here. We got a couple police cruisers there. We got another police cruiser here, and we got the game warden here. And this is actually our fire station. Right now we got a brush truck assigned to it. For this one, this is our main fire station. This is station 1. We're gonna park the ambulance right here. We got the parade event and crew transportation for wood fires and stuff like that here. Why am I running back to the shop? This would be quicker. Okay, I need another ambulance. We're gonna park 2 ambulances here. So this is the second ambulance that we go and station there. So we got 2 stations here. This is the main city section. We've got houses and stuff like that that are going to be built here. So we need 2 ambulances to cover this area. So we're going to back up the second ambulance into the bay. And we are developing this area. So hopefully by next week we get everything set up. And this is our main ambulance. I have my flags. This is all decorated. This is all set up. We got parking and everything ready. Okay. Now, This is our third ambulance, and that's going to be stationed up at Station 2. So let's go ahead and drive to Station 2. And you can see I got, at the fire station, I got the American flag, the firefighter flag, and the North Carolina flag, because we're in Pleasant Valley, North Carolina. We got some DOT trucks here, Department of Transportation trucks here. We got parking spaces. Oh yeah, this is the county, not county. This is the town hall right here. You can park here. I forgot to show you all this. And we got a sidewalk, the best I could figure out how to do a sidewalk. And this is the main entrance. Of course, you cannot enter the building. And you got recycling over here. This building here, of course, we got the American flag and state flag. We got the American flag and state flag here. And this is the courthouse. Now, I just put this up. I don't know. No, yeah, you can't enter it. But this is the courthouse for the city. So we got to get this all centrally located for the community. It's in the center of the map. We have parking spaces back here. You pull in here if you want to go to the town hall, or if you have business with the court, you can pull in here and park here. So we got parking spaces over here. And let's go ahead and head to Station 2. The bank we've already talked about, and we got the bank set up. I'm still working on decorating this area. Of course, we got the Starbucks, Trader Supply. We have our soap. This is supposed to be the garden shop. So we got soap, candles, wax. So we need to plant some lavender. I still haven't finished planting. I still haven't finished clearing out the sections I need to clear out, so we can go ahead and get going. But I want to go ahead and get these fire stations. I got the police stations all set up, and I got a couple cars at each fire station. So we're going to go to Station 2 that I set up. Get some wheat growing, so that's good. Off camera I went ahead and got some pellets, mowed some grass and stuff like that. So we got pellets, hay pellets already. So we need to make some straw pellets. Slow down so we don't go flying. Okay, and we'll come over here, and we're going to turn here. Station 2 is actually across the river, and it's actually right across the street from the fuel refinery. I don't think I showed you all this. I redid all this. This is where the trash will be dumped and collected and all that. We got the refinery here. We have, which I need to put a police car in there too. That's a good idea. Now we have our, I moved the salvage yard slash, and for some reason won't let me paint. It keeps it as grass for some reason. Of course, we got our windmills there, producing electricity. And right next door to it, this is our salvage yard slash impound yard. And we got 2 police officers assigned to this building. We're going to stick 1 ambulance here at Station 2. And we'll kind of park it so we can there we go. That's the sign. Let's take a look at Station 2. This is Station 2. It's a little bit different setup than what I normally do. But we're going to have 2 engines, a hazmat unit, a ladder truck in here. We'll put one ladder truck here and one hazmat over here. And we got this nice lounge, place to lounge. Captain, go ahead and do his paperwork there. We got a place to sit. So we got all this nice area. So this is actually a nice station. So, and of course it's Fire Department red. We got our flags, American firefighting, and our state flag. Let's hop in here and we'll go ahead and send this to Station 3. And we'll get this going. I just need to turn the volume up a little so I can hear. I forgot to put in my hearing aids today. So we'll go ahead and set up these. We're going to set up the fire stations with equipment. We've already got the fire stations set up in place, so we just need to get the equipment that we need for that area set up. And we are going, this is going to Fire Station 3. This is EMS 3. You got, this is EMS 31. You got EMS 1, and, I'm sorry. The first ambulance is EMS 11. We got EMS 12 also assigned at Station 1. EMS 21 is assigned at Station 2. And this is EMS 31, which is being assigned to Station 3. And as we get the map set up, we will set up a 4th fire station along the shore, and we'll put an engine in a ambulance there. Maybe a ladder truck. I haven't decided what building I'm going to use or where I'm going to place it right now. But we're slowly getting this map set up. We still need to get farming. I'm still on real time. This is day 8, late spring, so I need to start making. I need to plant, but I also need to start getting some of these factories up and going. I got some fields planted, and right now we need tobacco, lavender. We need food for our animals planted and stuff like that. Okay, Station 3 is all the way up here. I'm going to be redoing this so it's a little bit better. Instead of going up and down, I'm going to level this off here. So it's basically all one level. And you're not driving sideways, you're driving like this. Now, I could go the long way. I'm just taking the shortcut to the station. Going through the woods. I could go through the highway. I might could do that with the fire trucks. Okay. And we'll get this all set up. And that way we got the proper protection that we need throughout the county that we have right now, that we have set up. The reason why we'll have a fire station all the way up here is this is where our lumber mill is. where we process all our lumber, and our mining goes here. We have factories already set up that we need to build and get going. So we need to get that also up and running, and we're going to work on that today. Off camera, I'm going to go ahead and do some more planting and clearing. Okay, we're only going to have one ambulance stationed here. I should have 2 brush trucks. Yeah, there. Right now I got 2 mountain vehicles up here. We only need 1 ambulance here. Okay. So, next we need to go ahead. I tell you what, I'm going to add that. You're not going to have to, you're going to have the step and all that. And this is our, we'll go ahead and put this at station 3. We're going to end up having 2 of these, one at station 3 and one at station 4 once we get station 4 up and going. Okay, our fire engine, we're going with Mayhem wheels, which is black, which I like, and it's red and white, which I don't like. I kind of like green and white, but we can't select colors on this truck. So we need, this is station 1, engine 11. And this will be engine 12. So we'll add 2 fire trucks. There we'll have 1, 2, 20. This will be engine 21, engine 22. And this will be engine 3, 31. So how many do I want there? That's only one. I only need 1 there. I'm going to have something else 2 of. So we get that going. I'm going to need 2 tankers for station 3. Because we will have fire hydrants for the engines. Okay, I'm going to need 2 ladder trucks, main, and the design is going to be white, so it matches the other fire trucks that we have, and we're going to go ahead with 98-foot hose. We're going to have 2 of these. Okay, we need, this is our hazmat truck. We're going to go ahead with option 2. We're going to go with option 2 there. Stock, engine tuned. And we're going to have hazmat 1 and hazmat 2. So we're going to have a hazmat for the city, for the main part of the city, and a hazmat unit for the other at station 2 for, since we're going to have a chemical plant and all that there. I think that's it for the fire trucks. We got all that. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. We need this. We need a command center, which will be at station 1. And I think it's under Wilson. Let's see. I know I got it. Let me look under vehicles. I know I downloaded it. At least I think I did. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I thought I did. Let's go back to Wilson Mods. Let's go with the Nissan Titan. We'll just leave that as red. Off-road lights, and we'll have off-road option. This will be our tow vehicle for the command vehicle. And the chief's car for right now. It doesn't have emergency lights, but it does have these. We'll just pretend these lights are our emergency lights. So okay, so this is going to station 3. Lights work, siren works. Whoa! Got a lot of fire equipment, don't we? City's spending a lot of money on fire protection and EMS, so this is the backup. Oh, we got 2 ambulances stationed here, so they can handle one call in the city and another call in the city. We got one at the refinery area, which we are going to build other factories. So we'll have probably another station set up on the other side of the map right now. We'll go ahead and get that going. And I took the wrong turn, so we need to turn right. I took the wrong road. Oh well. Different view of the map. That's the way I look at it. So we'll go ahead and get down. We'll get these stations set up, and then we are going to stop logging and setting up. Start the lumber mill. I think I fueled up. Yeah, I got fueled. Oh, no, I don't. Oh, it doesn't matter. I got the refining where I just need a repair shop at. I think I got one. Need one at station 2. The repair shop for station 1 would be the shop itself. They can work on our vehicles over there. Oh, I got that. That's right. I got that one truck. We'll have I think I just need I can refuel at the refinery. So let's go ahead. Go to station 3 with this thing. This vehicle is not really an ambulance, even though it does say EMS. What this vehicle is the EMS response to disasters, and it sets up triages and sets up the area for EMS. It has extra supplies for the ambulances, for mass casualty incidents and stuff like that. So that's what this vehicle is. And it's also used for recruitment and stuff like that. That's why it says join the medical team EMS. But this is our disaster response vehicle for EMS. And the fire command vehicle is the disaster response vehicle for any major fire incidences or where you need to set up a command post. That's what that trailer that we will have with the Nissan. So this is the disaster response vehicle. We're going to station here at station 3, and I might have a second one station somewhere else later on. I think I can get away with 4 stations. I'm not sure. Oh, I know one thing I forgot to set up that we definitely need to do at station 2. We forgot to set up the radios at station 2. Let's see if I can sneak by here. Can I sneak by here? Because this is going right behind the ambulance. There we go. shut that off. Let's just take a look at this vehicle right here. F1, let's see. L, start engine. Do I need to start the engine? Nah, we don't need to start the engine. There we go. And I'll show you this vehicle. Okay. This is a Mercedes-Benz vehicle. We can convert this into an ambulance if we don't want to. We got the doors that open up in the back and front. But this is where all the medical supplies for traumas and stuff like that. This is what. This is why. And this is also for recruitment. And it also does public service for the city of Pleasant Valley. It explains when to call 911. It goes to schools and stuff like that. Join the EMS team. Same thing over here. But this is black instead of blue. Wait, no, that's the American flag. Yeah, that's the American flag, I think. And what is this, blue over here? Nope, same thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay. This is engine 11. So we'll go ahead and go to station 1 with this one. We have a lot of fire equipment. Unfortunately, I have not found any American Chiefs vehicle. Maybe I can talk to some people and see if we can get a... Okay, how are we going to do this? Okay, we got hazmat. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put 2 engines up front here. So engine 11's going to go here. 1 is the station. Engine is the equipment. So this is an engine. So this is station 1, engine 1. So that's why it's called. That's why it's called engine 11. It's station 1. That's what the first number is, station 1, and 1 after that. So engine 11 is just the first engine. This is engine 12. So station 1, engine 2. Even though it says engine 44. But this is engine 12. So that's how we are labeling our fire vehicles and EMS vehicles. Like, we got EMS or medic 11 and medic 12 stationed at station 1. So it's medic 1, medic station 1, medic 1. So that's EMS 11, and we got medic 12, which is station 1, medic, and the second medic unit out of that station. So we'll go ahead and do that here. I tell you what, I'm going to change something here. Well, the brakes do not work on these trucks. Which I already have a brush truck assigned here, and the brush truck is green and white. Green and yellow. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. And we'll park the brush truck right here. If it's needed in the city for small fires and stuff like that, or assist in any mountain fires that we might have. So let's go to this is engine Okay, we got 3 more engines. So this is engine 21. So station 2, engine 1. So let's go ahead and get this set up for engine 2. So we are setting up and getting all these equipment ready to go. Hopefully we will never need this equipment. And I forgot to do one thing with all these engines. No, not fuel. Empty. Fuel. Okay. Yeah, I want water with this. Let me do that with the other 2. I'm thinking about it. I just forgot to fill these up with water. I'm just using the cheat on this, so... And water. Milk, liquid fertilizer, water. There we go. So that's filled up. And we can actually dump the water into engine 12 here. Because right now engine 12 is empty. We'll go ahead and fill up engine 12 over here. And we need water. Oh, water. There we go. Now let's get back to engine 21. And we're taking this to station 2. Station 2 is going to have 2 engines, so it'll be engine 21 and engine 22 for that area. So we'll go ahead and get that set up. We need to make sure we got the proper connections, equipment assigned to our city and dispersed to where response time can be short-lived. Right now we got a centralized fire station. We got one in the what we call a hazmat area. And that's why we had 2 engines out there. And we got lights at work. Yeah, there we go. We got this siren going. I'm trying to stop. There we go. Okay. Turn off the lights so we're not supposed to be responding code. But it does sound like a real fire truck. So this is engine 21, setting it to station 2. So we have fire coverage. We're going to have a lot of factories over here on this side, and I might set up another station further down on the other side of the map. So we're going to have to set the terrain. We're going to have to do a lot of terrain work, and we're going to have a lot of factories spread out. But because we have, and this is our fuel factory here, we want to make sure this is protected and it catches on fire, it doesn't explode. Oh yeah, I just added this as a garage here for right now the fuel tankers are there. What we got here, I forgot to show you all this. This is our warehouse. We have several different vehicles out here. We got a couple of enclosed bays. We got an Amazon truck here. We got 2 FedEx trucks, and we got Tractor Supply. We got an empty bay right here that we can put other ones. We got 2 UPS trucks. We got a Pepsi truck here. We got a Coca-Cola truck. We got a Walmart truck here. Is that it? That's here? Yep, that's it. That's here. Okay, and we got another Walmart truck over here. And this is our factory area where we can put supplies in here. We got forklift over here, and we got a second forklift over here. Trucks can be loaded and unloaded by the forklift. That one, I forgot to open the doors, and it's parked perfectly. Oh, okay. So that's what this area is. This is another truck that's parked. Doors are not open, doors are not open, doors are not open, but this door is open. Okay, so let's go ahead and park engine. This is engine 21. I also got another low boy truck over here, which I brought the forklifts on. Oh yeah, there's one other one. I forgot about that one. Or did I bring that one over here? Yeah, it's over there. I like this one. I saw this. Definitely have to have this one. This is a pallet jack. There you go. Start the engine. And this is how you control the pallet jack. It goes up and down. It has warning beacons and all that. I kind of like that. So we got a pallet jack here that we can actually put stuff up on here. That's what this is for. We can bring the pallets off the truck or load the trucks and stack them here, get them ready for loading or unloading. If we unload them, we can unload them onto here, and we can store some of our stuff over here. Okay, so let's put engine 21 in station 2. Building's red. And since we don't have all the equipment in here yet, we'll go ahead and put engine 21 right next to EMS 21. That one's done. So the ambulance and the engine go ahead and respond. This is engine 22. This is also going to station 2, and I only have one. One engine to go, and that's going to station 3. So this is 22. This is engine 22. It's going to be stationed at station 2. So let's go ahead and get this to station 2. Whoa, slow down. We got a train we gotta wait for. Okay, train has gone by. Gates are going up. There we go. We can go ahead and go. Eventually, this is going to look a lot better once we get all the factories up and got all our roads set and got our auto drive set. Because I think I'm going to change the. This is asphalt that we're driving on now. This is new. What I call new asphalt. And I think I'm going to switch that out with old asphalt, which is the gray here. If you take a look at it, you can see that this is regular black new asphalt. It doesn't have many cracks in it. It has a few, but not much. But this is a new road for us. So we are going to... Eventually, I think I'm going to swap this out once I got all the drive set up and I know where all the roads are. We'll go ahead and switch. Now, I'll wait until we get to station 2 and I'll show you the difference. And it's going to be harder to once I switch the asphalt roads to the old asphalt roads, but it will look a lot better. It will look like it's been there for a while. But we are slowly building this station. We're slowly building this map up. but we need to go ahead and get our construction done. We need to go ahead and get our lumbering processing done so we can start building the glue factory and then make other boards and stuff like that, and slowly start building our steel factory or building materials and factory and stuff like that. Okay, this is engine 22, and we are going to actually park it. And I like this. I like this. I like the automatic doors on this building. So this is engine 22. We'll go ahead and put engine 22. I'll back it up. Might have to offset this because we're going to put. I haven't decided. I think I'm going to put whichever next. This is engine 31. So let's get engine 31 set up. Now, I know in North Carolina, and if you live in North Carolina, fire and EMS are in separate buildings. Fire department does not run EMS. EMS is run by EMS, and they're usually in separate buildings and not in the same building as fire trucks. But in this game, I'm setting this up to where my old where I started in Frederick, Maryland, where fire and EMS are together, and where you got station 1, so you have engine 11, engine 12, and we have a third engine 13, and so on and so on. One always stands for the first number is always the station number. We got a train coming in, and the second number is always the vehicle number, and you always respond like engine 11 responding, EMS or medic 11 responding. You always announce what type of vehicle is responding. So, and that's where we're going to set up this EMS station. What I'd like to do eventually, this is a nice map. I kind of enjoy this map, and what I'd like to do is do a multiplayer if I can find. I never played multiplayer. I've had a couple people ask me to join them in multiplayer, but I got to find the people that want to do all this. Plus, I want to set up Pleasant Valley and actually have farmers, and that's all they do is farming. Have one that does mining, and all they do is the mining. Have one that does construction. One person does construction. A couple people run the fire department and respond to calls, because I actually have buildings that would catch on fire. Let me show you one of those buildings. And it's in Station 3's area. I got several buildings up in Station 3. I had not set up the area for the city yet with these buildings. Oh yeah, we need to get water filled in. There we go. Oh yeah, we can close this. Let's go ahead and close that. Now, I started off as a firefighter. In the first company, I started off as a junior firefighter, then became a full-fledged firefighter. Then I took the training. I became an EMT and a CRT, and then a paramedic in the department. And I was the first volunteer EMT, was the first volunteer CRT, and the first paramedic volunteer at my station. And you gotta realize something, my fire station that I joined was established in 1818, and this was 1980. And the only EMTs we had in the department were the ones that were paid firefighters, and we had a couple paid firefighters that worked in. We had some paid firefighters that worked in the city of Alexandria in Virginia, but they lived up here in Frederick because it was cheaper to live up here in Frederick than it was to live in DC area. They were on, and we had a couple firefighters that were DC firefighters that were also volunteers at my fire station. And they, one of the requirements was that they had to be EMTs. They did for their job. I was actually the first one that EMT volunteered. That, I mean, you didn't have to be an EMT back then to be a firefighter. But I went and got my firefighting. Worked on my firefighting as my basic firefighting when I was. Where are you going? I don't know where you're going. Where are you going? So I was the first EMT. We had CRT is a cardiac rescue technician back in the 80s in Maryland. That was CRT is basically is advanced life and cardiac. CRT stands for cardiac rescue technician. So if you're having a heart attack, we could do more than what the EMTs could do. Of course, EMTs, as you go along with the EMT, you become a. Okay, this is tanker 31. So this is fire tanker, holds water. Actually, let's go ahead and fill this up while we're thinking about it. Yeah, that's filled. Okay. This holds larger amounts of water. It does have some. It does have some hoses, so you can actually fight fire with this vehicle. It doesn't have as many hoses as this, but what this unit is for is to supply water where you do not have hydrants. Of course, right now I don't have any hydrants set up. I will have hydrants set up throughout the city here once we get this going, and they will actually be working hydrants to where the engines can actually operate off and fill up from those hydrants. So in the city, the fire engines operate off the hydrant system. In the more rural areas where you do not have, yeah, I forgot to show you those buildings. In the areas you do not have fire hydrants or water supply, you can do one of two things. The nearest water supply, like a swimming pool, a lake, or something like that, you set up one engine, and then the engines will go back and forth. You have a supply water. But what this does, this holds 20. Well, most tankers hold about 2,000 gallons of water, but this holds 20,000 gallons of liter of water. So you can. This would respond to supply water to the engines. What you do is you have a water supply. You have one engine that would respond to a water supply area. And would draft water from that water supply, and the tanker would shuttle water back and forth from the water supply to the engine, keeping the engine supplied with water while it's fighting fire. That's what these tankers are for, and this reason why we got 2 up here, because they'll have hydrants down there. We won't have hydrants. We might have 1 or 2 hydrants up here, close to the buildings. But if we Station 3 is going to be an engine, brush, and EMS station, because we got a lot of trees here, and there's a chance of woods fires and brush fires. That's why we got 2 brush vehicles already stationed at Station 3. We have 1 at Station 1, and we have none at Station 2 right now. But Station 3 right now is a combination of 1 engine, 2 tankers, 2 brush trucks, 1 ambulance, and 1 EMS disaster vehicle. And the only reason why we have that up there, but I want to show you these buildings over here. So this is one of the buildings that we got. This is one of the construction buildings we got to build first before we start building our plants and stuff like that. But I want to show you these houses. I got different houses. Let's take a look at this house. I think this is one of the houses. But if I can find the trigger. There's a trigger somewhere. It's supposed to be a trigger somewhere. You got AC and stuff like that, but I can't find the trigger. These are houses for, maybe this is where the trigger's at. No, this is supposed to be a burning building. There we go. See, we got a working house fire. This is why we need the fire station. Looks like it started in the garage here and now is spreading through the house. I forgot to buy something. No, is it? I think it's under this one. Miscellaneous. I know I have it. I'm supposed to have it. For some reason it didn't get loaded. The house is on fire. Now it's fully engulfed. So we got a hose here. And we hit R. Supposed to hit R and have the hose up here. Or I can just go, it's on a timer, so it will, or as you're fighting the fire, it will burn out in about 10 minutes. Or you can just come up here, hit the trigger again, and the fire's out, and the fire department did its job. For some reason, my hoses are not connected, and I don't know why. I'm supposed to be able to hit R. And for some reason, it's not working, so... But this is a tanker, so this is tanker 31. It goes to Station 3. We've got log storage over here. This is our lumber mill. We've got charcoal factory. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on here, and we got a whole bunch of buildings. that we need to construct up here and get. This is where we will have our steel mill and stuff like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and place one tanker here. This is tanker 31. So it's the first tanker. We want two tankers here because this is a very rural area, but we want 2 tankers stationed at this station. And this is by Lambo Mods. It's not set up for the public yet. He hasn't finished working on these mods. Lambo Mod and Wilson Modeling have a Patreon site, and this is where I got this, where if you're a Patreon member you can go ahead and download these files. I spend $20 a month on this, so I can have vehicles that are not released yet but are being tested, and you can give feedback, and that's what these are. And one of the things I've been looking for is fire equipment, and all the fire equipment I found so far, these are the only American fire trucks I've seen. Oh yeah, we need to fill this up with water. These are the only American fire trucks I've seen. And all the other ones have been European. Well, this is North Carolina, so we need American fire trucks. So we'll go ahead and get all these. That's one of the reasons why I went with this. And you can see it's not detailed yet. With there's no numbers, no fire department on here or anything like that. All you guys are 911 on the back. And the lights actually are halfway decent. I like the lights. But this is a 20,000 gallon tanker. The average tanker for firefighting in rural areas are about 2,000 gallons, maybe a little bit more, or actually some are a little less, smaller, and some are a little bit bigger, depending on the department and water supplies and stuff like this. Where the station I came from, where I started my career as a volunteer firefighter, it was Independent Hose Company in Frederick, Maryland, and it's the oldest fire company in the state of Maryland. And when I was on, it was the 8th oldest in the country. So it had a long history, and it was based in the city of Frederick, but it's a city-county. It was a city-county company. It was an engine truck company, and an engine truck company. Engine company are the ones that actually fight the fires. And truck company does, at that time, some of the stations had rescue squads, but all the ladder trucks in the state of Maryland at the time had the same had to have all rescue equipment and all that, plus the ladder company. That's why the ladder trucks are so big, because it holds a lot of equipment, not just a rescue so it had to be set up for rescue, like Jaws Alive, and especially high angle rescues, cribbing, extrications, stuff like that. And at the time when I lived, this is back in the 80s, there were four city fire departments. I'm sorry. There was 3 engine companies, in the city and one ladder truck company. Station 1, which is the station I belong to, did both fire and EMS. We're going to put this in one of the bays back here. How did that get close? We'll put that right here. And we'll park that right there. Okay, now this is Tower 1. The reason why I'm calling this is a tower, not a ladder truck. Let me get out here and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, it looks like a ladder truck, except for one of the main things on the back of this thing. This is where you will actually sit down and fight fire. You can actually do rescue work on this and high angle rescues and stuff like that. But this is a bucket. A ladder truck does not have a bucket. A tower truck has a bucket, and this is what this is. This is basically a crane. This is basically a crane that has a bucket that there's supposed to be controls here, but there's no controls here. But you have a control where you actually control the ladder going up, down, angle, and all that. On a ladder truck, you don't have that. On the ladder truck, and you also have controls. This white box right here, you flip open the top, and that will control your ladder operations. Most ladder trucks only have controls down here, and you set it up, then the firefighters climb up there. With a tower truck, you hop into this bucket and you control the ladder from up here, and you got a dead man switch, so if you pass out it locks, and it won't swing and anything like that, and people can actually come up here, climb the ladder and stuff like that. When I first joined Independent Hose Company, we had a 1958 American LaFrance ladder truck. This is 1980 when I first joined the fire department, and it was a ladder truck. It was ladder 1, and it only responded to county calls, and we were the only ladder truck in the whole county. So, and there was lots of small towns, a lot of silos, so that ladder truck responded to a lot of calls in the entire county, Frederick County. Frederick County is the largest county in the state of Maryland. It borders 3 states. It borders Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia. So there's a large area where we would respond on the ladder truck. Now, my department, you were one of 2 things. You were either a firefighter, which you start off in that department as a firefighter, and then as you continue to train, and say you want to become a ladder, you got hose jockey. I forget what the term is. My mind just went completely blank. I hate when that happens. A truckie. You can either be a hose jockey or a truckie. Okay? To become a truckie and to actually be a truckie, and only select people, you can have all the training as a truckie, but in my department, there was unique. It was unique. You had one chief and 2 assistant chiefs in the department. The first assistant chief was in charge of the engine company, because we were actually divided into 2. We were divided into engine company and truck company. And this is supposed to be going to station 1, because this is tower 1, buddy. Why are you going to station 2? Because you were talking and you forgot where you were going. Okay, so we were engine truck company. Okay, and we just split, our personnel will actually split up. So we had a lot of volunteers in my department. In my department, we had 350 members of the department. Out of the 350, about 50 were active, were actually responded to calls on average. We averaged about 50, depending on the call. We had about 50 departments. My station had 3 engines. We had engine 11, engine 12, and engine 13. And now, engine 11 and engine 12 were Seagraves. Yeah, they were Seagraves. And engine 11 was a city fire truck. It responded to city calls. Engine 12 was a county truck. It responded to county calls. We had one engineer, one paid engineer. Everything else was done by volunteers. You had one paid engineer, which was paid for by the city of Frederick, and he responded with the first engine out. Now, he responded to both city and county, even though he was paid by the city of Frederick. He responded to both city and county firefighters. He had the first engine out. He was an engineer, and he was assigned to the first engine that responded out. There were three of them at our station. They took shifts. There's 3 different shifts. You had A shift, B shift, and C shift. And do I have room here? Yeah, I'll back the ladder truck up in there. Oh, don't hit the ambulance. Forward. I can't drive. And he responded with the first engine out. He never drove the tanker. We had 3 engines. We had 1 tanker, which actually held 2,500 gallons of water, and it was a Mack tanker. We had 2 brush trucks. We had a utility vehicle, and we had a ladder truck at the time. And that ladder truck responded to all county calls. And in the city, we had 3 engine companies and 1 ladder company, which had 2 ladder trucks. Now, in Citizens Truck Company, which was Station 4, had 2 ladder trucks for the city. It had 1 paid crew. It had 1 paid crew during same setup, Monday A, B, and C shift. And they had 2 members because they were what we call hook and ladder trucks, where it actually bent in the middle. And you had 1 driver up front, and you had a tillman in the back that actually steered the back of the truck. And in the city, you needed that because the city's tight, the streets were tight, corners were sharp. This is what we call a straight truck, and it doesn't turn. Well, nowadays they turn a lot easier than the hook and ladder truck, but in old cities like Frederick, the streets were narrow, so you need somebody to steer the rear of the truck. So it's a tractor. It basically was a tractor trailer setup. You had the tractor, which is the front part, and the trailer was where the ladder was on. So you had 1 person driving the tractor, you had 1 person driving the trailer, which was in the back. And they were volunteer too. All the personnel were volunteer. Let's get back to my department. The way it was set up, we had junior firefighters. Junior firefighters, at that time, I don't know what they do now. You became a member at age actually become a member at age 15. I joined when I was 16 because then I could drive. But I joined at age 16 at that department in 1980 as a junior firefighter. And basically what a junior firefighter does, it goes, and in the state of Maryland, the University of Maryland actually did the training for the fire. All volunteers went to the University of Maryland Fire Rescue Institute to become we'll put the electric right here and with that and respond. Okay, this is hazmat. You could respond to the fire, and basically what you would do, you would be a gopher. You do whatever grunt work that needed, like helping stretch out hose. That's what a junior firefighter did. Stretch out hose. They learned how to become firefighters, and we took University of Maryland Basic Firefighting, which is a training which is equivalent to nowadays Firefighter 1 and 2. And we had the in Frederick County, we also had the federal firefighting education. I forget what it's called now, but it ran. What it did up there, it was a thing that set up the state license. Federal. It would do federal certifications and stuff like that. Now, University of Maryland at that time. Why am I not going anywhere? There we go. Okay. University of Maryland was actually one of the top. University of Maryland Fire Rescue Institute was actually one of the leading training facilities in the country. And so if we got our basic firefighting, we were actually certified nationally as firefighters 1 and 2. So, and it took a year. The training was for a year. We went to school 3 nights a week. Our training was 3 nights a week. Training classes started at 6 and ended at 10, so 4 hours. So we did 12 hours a week in training for a year. So, and we learned to become firefighters. And on the scene, as a junior firefighter, you learn to do some things. Now, back then, junior firefighters, where are you going? You need to go to Station 1. Why are you going to Station 2? This is Hazmat 1. You're supposed to be at Station 1. Hazmat 2 goes to Station 2. So, as a junior firefighter, we had equipment. We had helmets, turnout gear, turnout boots. Back then you wore 3/4 length rubber boots. You had heavy duck down fire coats. I mean, they were heavy and hot. Nowadays the equipment's a lot lighter, and you got Kevlar, which makes it lighter, and you got Nomex and stuff like that. Back then you didn't have Nomex. You had duck down I don't know whatever the equipment was, but we had helmets and stuff like that, and when we're on scene, we had to wear the fire gear. We could not go into the building when it was on fire. That's the only thing we could not do. After the fire was put out, we could help with what we call salvage and overhaul, pulling down ceilings, tearing apart walls and stuff like that, and check for extensions and stuff like that. And we would always have another we will always have a firefighter with us. We did not do it by ourselves. And back then, the only time you wore an air mask, and you can tell time has changed, but back then the only time you wore an air mask is when you were fighting the fire. When you were doing the salvage and overhaul, you did not wear your air mask. You were considered a sissy if you wore your air mask. Believe it or not, times have changed a lot, and in my 35 years, lots of things, equipment has changed, and a lot of things have changed, and I still keep up, and a lot of the equipment is changed. Okay, this is hazmat. This is hazmat 1. We'll go ahead and put hazmat 1 in this bay. I have hazmat 1 come in this way. And we'll park hazmat 1 right there. And this is hazmat 2. But as a firefighter, as a junior firefighter, you were allowed to do certain things. And the older you got, and if you actually happen to finish your basic firefighting training by University of Maryland, you got your cert, and you were certified by the state, and you had your certification, even though you were a junior firefighter, you're still not allowed to fight fires, except for depending on what the fire was and who was in charge at the time. I finished my training when I was 17, and now in the training you actually fought fire. You actually did everything. You learned how to become fire. You in a controlled situation, you learned to fight fires, and the department also had training that we had to. We had junior firefighter training, which was basically going over the equipment, learning the equipment and stuff like that. That's one of the things that you had to have. And if you finished your training as a junior firefighter, you became a probationary firefighter. Now, if you joined at 18 and you joined at 18, you become a probationary firefighter. You have a year and a half to finish your basic University of Maryland basic firefighting training, and you remained a probationary firefighter until. So you were a probationary firefighter for a year and a half. But if you were a junior firefighter, and by the time you turned 18 and you had all your training and stuff like that, you became a probationary firefighter for 6 months. So that way you actually you get some actual hands-on training, even though you did get some as a junior firefighter, but you get more hands-on and stuff like that. Yeah, this is station 2. Where do I want the hazmat truck at? Yes, but let's do that there. We'll get out. Let's open this bay. Yeah, we got a ladder truck there. So, even though this is Hazmat 3, this is Hazmat 2. And this Hazmat 2 would be the training. But you start off as a, once you finish your training, you have as a junior firefighter, and when you turn 18, you can join the fire department as a real firefighter. Actually, as a probationary firefighter for 6 months. So you get some practical. Then once you finish your probationary time, you voted in as a full member or a full firefighter. Now, as everybody in the department is trained as a firefighter. Once you join and become a full member, you are a full-fledged firefighter. You have the same training, and you have the same continuing education training as a regular as a paid firefighter. Actually, we actually did more training than the paid firefighters did back then. So we had the exact same training, we had the exact same certification as a paid firefighter. And what ticked me off a lot, and this is our command vehicle, and what ticked me off a lot as you weren't a professional firefighter unless you were paid. Well, when we had the fair, we were actually paid by the fair, so we actually were professional firefighters because we actually were paid firefighters to do standby at the fair. Our department actually did all the standbys at the fairgrounds. And it was the largest county fair in the state. So we had the fairgrounds had its own fire equipment. It had a ladder truck and it had 2 engines. So when the fair will last 2 weeks in Maryland, the Frederick County Fair will last for 2 weeks in the fall, and our department was the only department that actually had firefighters there. Like I said, we had 350 members. You become a member, but you don't. As long as you paid your dues, you didn't have to respond to calls. You could pay your dues. You didn't have to go to training. You didn't have to do all that. This is back in the 80s now. It's changed a lot since then. Trust me, it has changed a lot. Yeah, let's take this. We're going to start this. We're going to start our logging. I need to clear these for the vehicles, but we're going to start our logging operation. Now we're going to start cutting down some trees, clearing some trees and setting up our greenhouses and stuff like that we need to set up. I was clearing logs to get rid of so the equipment wouldn't get caught up in it. But we did a lot, and you were a firefighter. Now, like I said, we were an engine truck company when I first started, and you were either a hose jockey or a truckie. Now, to become a truckie, and we had 2 assistant chiefs. We had one assistant chief which was on the engine side. He was in charge of all the firefighting gear except for the ladder truck. Now, you continue your education and you go through University of Maryland. I actually got a fire science degree through University of Maryland. I took an arson course. I've taken I became a paramedic, which is also through fire, EMT, CRT, and got my paramedic, which is also through University of Maryland Fire Rescue Institute. But I got that training done and out of the way. And I did that first. And the only reason why I did that, instead of continuing my education first, and I also joined I joined 2 other departments when I was on there. I joined Junior Fire Company, which was Frederick County Station 1. It was also a city-county truck, a company. But the reason why I joined that, they had ambulances. We didn't have ambulance. They had 2 engines, a rescue squad, a rescue truck, not a ladder truck, but a truck for rescue and stuff like that. And they had 3 ambulances. They had 1 paid ambulance which responded in their area, and then they had 2 backup ambulances, which were manned by volunteers. And I joined that department not as a firefighter, but I joined that department as an EMT, because my station at that time did not have any ambulances. So I did it from there. So we got that going. So I did my training, started my training, and did my training as a did that, and I would volunteer 1 night a week, because volunteers, they had 3 ambulances. 2 of them were volunteers and they would back up. They would be the backup once the paid ambulance came out. The next ambulance. So you had ambulance 21, and then you had ambulance 22 and ambulance 23. And I need to get these logs out of the yeah, let's go ahead and get these stumps out of the way while we're here. But I would volunteer 1 night a week, and they had they actually had 24 hours a day. They always had a volunteer truck ready to go with a crew, and when you joined the department, you had to volunteer 24 hours a month. If you were an EMT, you had to volunteer 24 hours a month on the ambulance if you were an EMT. And they actually manned that ambulance 24 hours a day, but they did it in 12-hour shifts instead of 24-hour shifts. And at Station 2, you had one engineer for the engine. You had 2 EMS personnel. They were both EMTs. They weren't CRTs, but EMTs back then. You got your EMT, and then you continued your training. You got what you called your EOA mass training, where you can stick a tube down the throat, not through the larynx, but actually down through the throat, and block stomach stuff coming up, so regurgitation of when you're doing CPR and stuff like that, and you open the airway. Now CRT, but you went on, then you got your IV, and you got your IV. You went on with your continuation. You can start IVs. Then you had your IV meds. You can do certain meds on it, and if you complete your complete training as an EMT, at least back then, it's a lot different now, but at least back then, by the time you completed your training, you'd be like here in the state of Maryland, you had 3 certifications. You had EMT, then you had EMT intermediate, then you had your paramedic. You'd be qualified as an EMT intermediate. Things change though. Times change. But back then, EMTs could do a lot more than what they could back then. They could do a lot more then than they can now. Looks like back then I could do a lot more as a paramedic than I could as a paramedic now. But times were different. And we didn't have to go through we didn't have to go through 2 years to become a paramedic back then. Most of your training was on the job training. I mean, you had the knowledge base, and you had the same knowledge base. And you do go through your training as a paramedic throughout your career. But you have to start off as an EMT, and you have to be EMT for a year. And in that year, if you want to become a CRT, within that year as being an EMT, you have to complete your full EMT training before you can become a CRT. So I did that, and that's one of the reasons why I volunteered at Junior, because they had an ambulance. Plus that ambulance responded to where I lived. So I responded to the community I lived in, even though I lived in Frederick County Station 1's area. EMS Station 2, Junior Fire Department, responded their ambulances as first to where we were, because at that time, Independent Hose Company didn't have an ambulance. So I did my EMT training, and I kept it, and I volunteered at Junior Fire Department. When I first started off, as I was getting my CRT and paramedic, and Frederick County they had paramedics. Not really. No, I'm sorry. They had what they call a CRT, QRV, Cardiac Rescue Technician QRV. They had 2 of them. One would cover the north side, and they were both stationed in Frederick. But one would respond to the north side, one would respond to the south side of the county. So I volunteered at Junior, completed my training as an EMT, and started my training as a CRT. And I was volunteering 12 hours a week at the Junior Fire. Now you got to realize something. I was working full time at the time too. I had a regular full-time job. I started off as a land surveyor, and I worked also part-time at FW Woolworth. I started off when I was 16 at FW Woolworth, so I was working part-time, doing my fire training 3 nights a week, plus going to school full-time, plus also doing my fire training through the fire. We had to do we did fire training 3 times a month, and then we had a meeting on the 4th. Yeah, the first week we would have first Friday of every month. No, I'm sorry. First Thursday of every month we started our training. So second Thursday we did fire. So first Thursday of the month we did fire training. Second Thursday of the month we would do fire training. third Thursday of the month we would do fire training. And then the fourth we would have a fire department meeting. And then every year we would have elections and stuff like that. Now, we would elect certain people. We had elections for president of the fire department, and a chief and assistant chief were elected appointments, and you had to have so much. You had to have training in such and such and such and such. So, and the department was actually broken down. After I finished getting my paramedic and I was volunteering as a paramedic for the county of Frederick, I was the first paramedic in the county. And when I was on the CRT, and I volunteered 24 hours a month on the CRT. Actually, I did 48 hours a month on the CRT vehicle. And it was the same setup as the junior fire department, but it was actually the vehicle was actually would be dispatched to all cardiac and bad wrecks and stuff like that, or if an ambulance requested the CRT vehicle, it would respond. And they were in QRVs. One was the first vehicle, and the vehicle that was assigned to me every time I was working, CRT-1, was a Ford Bronco that had equipment, backboards, everything, all the equipment that the CRT needed. And when I was a paramedic, I had a locker that was locked, and I had the only key that I would have 2 bags that would be put onto that vehicle, and they would have my meds and my equipment that I needed to be a paramedic, that the state required to be as a paramedic. So when I was on, it became paramedic 1. I actually became medic 1, not CRT 1, became medic 1 when I came on. And they would announce medic, and when I hopped on to the vehicle and put the vehicle in service, I would put it in service as medic 1, and that would be announced through the radio, so all the ambulance companies would know that we would have now a paramedic. The only paramedics at the time were actually state troopers, and Maryland State Police ran medevac helicopters, and we actually had Trooper 3, which was stationed in Frederick at the Frederick Airport. So those were the only paramedics at the time until I became the first paramedic, and they were state troopers, and that helicopter responded not just to Frederick County, but it responded to several different counties and transport patients via the helicopter to a trauma center or a burn center or to a cardiac center. Now, it just happened that helicopter, Trooper 3, it responded to 2 hospitals. One of the hospitals it responded to was Hagerstown, which had the burn unit in Hagerstown, Maryland. The city of Hagerstown, also Hagerstown County, and the other hospital was John Hopkins, which had both the trauma, and cardiac. Was also what they called the cardiac center. Now, Frederick Memorial Hospital was not a trauma center, but it was a cardiac center. So people in Frederick County wouldn't be transported to John Hopkins unless it's being done by the hospital. And the reason why Frederick County had to have a cardiac center is because of Camp David, which is in the Catoctin Mountain. Camp David is where the President of the United States goes on vacation and does diplomat things, but they had to have the Frederick Memorial because of Camp David being there. Have a cardiac unit and a cardiologist and all that. But and it's funny, the cardiologist had to be on. You had to have the cardiologist wasn't there. There was 2 cardiologists, and there wasn't always a cardiologist at the hospital all the time. The only time they were definitely there was when the President was at Camp David. And both those cardiologists would come into the hospital, and both of them would come in at the same time. And they were government doctors. They were part of the government. They were government doctors, and they were stationed when the President was stationed at Camp David. Would go to Frederick Memorial and be the cardiologist for the President. And they were stationed there, and that's why everybody else was basically transferred to John Hopkins by helicopter. But when the President of the United States was at Camp David, the 2 cardiologists were there, and they would take 12-hour shifts, and they had their own room, everything. The hospital set up their own bunk room, so they each had a bunk room, a lounge area, and stuff like that. And they were not allowed to see any other patient when the President was at Camp David. And there's times where when President Carter, he would go for a week at a time to Camp David. President Reagan, and I met President Reagan. Because I was also, when I got trained, I was what they call an on-call trooper, and I would go. Basically, I was a part-time trooper, but I was part of the aviation department. Only time I would be set loose on the streets is if I was filling in for a paramedic that went on vacation or called in sick or something like that, and the helicopter was down due to weather. Then we would be put on. I had to go through this. I had to go through Maryland State Police Academy, so I had the same training as a trooper, but I only did part-time and only filled in as a paramedic, except for every once in a while. I had my own car. They did give me my own car, which I figured out why they did that. But I also had to go anywhere. I was backup paramedic for Trooper 3, Trooper 2, and Trooper 5, and they were all in different counties. So I would have to, if I got called in, I would have to respond and go. And I was working part-time, and there's certain times I was called in, and certain times I weren't called in, because I also worked a full-time job. They tried to get me to go full-time with Maryland State Police, and I wouldn't have to do 6 months of highway patrol. I only had to do, I would go straight into aviation and be assigned to helicopter unit. And actually, I wasn't always on a helicopter. Every once in a while, because I was part of aviation, I would actually be assigned to a plane. The plane did a couple things. It did search and rescue. The plane did would have troopers on the ground do radar and stuff like that, which I had to be trained in. But on the helicopter, you had a pilot, a co-pilot, and a medic, always. And that plane could transport one patient, and basically the patient would, if depending on the county it was at, like in Frederick County, we had a plane and the helicopter, and the helicopter did the majority of the transportation of would do the transportation of people. But every once in a while, if the helicopter was either down for maintenance, or if the helicopter was on another call, the plane would come in effect, and basically the hospital will send, like if Frederick Memorial had a trauma patient, or if there was a trauma patient that needed to be transported to a trauma center. And the way it would work is the ambulance would drive to the airport, meet us at the airport, because we're a plane, not a helicopter. It's trained at, on the, so the ambulance would come to the airport, and we would load the patient. Then I would fly, the plane would be flown to BWI, and I would take over patient care, and depending on what ambulance met us, if it was another, we would fly to BWI, and we would have an ambulance meet us at our hangar, at the state police hangar there at BWI. Or if the helicopter was there at BWI at the time, it would depend on what was available at the time. If the helicopter was there, we would just transfer the patient over to the helicopter, and the helicopter would go to John Hopkins or one of the other regional hospitals. Or an ambulance would come. Baltimore City would dispatch an ambulance to BWI, and depending on the level, 9 times out of 10 though, if I was transporting it on the plane, I would have to continue the care and transfer the patient onto the ambulance and continue care on the ambulance to John Hopkins or whatever regional hospital at the time that had rooms available, and depending on the type of care that was needed. So I would hop on that ambulance with my gear, transport the patient there, turn over information over there, then the ambulance would take me back to the airport, hop on the plane, we would fly back from BWI back to Frederick, Maryland, or wherever the airplane was stationed, depending on where I was at in the state. Because that's one thing I liked about Maryland. You weren't in North Carolina, you have to get certified in each county as a paramedic, or EMT. You have to get boarded by each county. In the state of Maryland, you were state boarded, and you became boarded throughout the state. Didn't matter where you were. You'd be a paramedic if you were at Ocean City, or if you were in Deep Creek, which is in the western part of the state. Ocean City's on the eastern part of the state. It didn't matter where you were at. And when actually there was times when I was on Troop 3, I actually went because of the mutual aid agreements that we had. And I also had to be nationally certified as a paramedic to be on that helicopter. Because we also responded, Trooper 3 actually responded, we actually responded to West Virginia, picking up patients in West Virginia, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. I was actually assigned to Ocean City one time, because filling in for a medic that was on vacation, which I didn't mind. I was at Ocean City, so I worked the same hours as so I had downtime, and if I would take a week's vacation from my job, go fill in there, and I did that once a year. I'd take a week's vacation from my job and plan with one of the medics out there and cover that medic while he took his vacation for the week. So, and when I'm assigned, if I was working a week in there, the state police had some accommodations, so I had a place where I can get a break and rest, and on my days off, because you work 5 days a week, but that week was 7 days, but I would only work 5 out of the 7 days. But I would be, say I started work on Monday, I'd be off on Wednesday, then I would be off on Saturday, and my shift didn't ended until Sunday. And Monday, the paramedic that I was on, I covered. So on my days off or my downtime, because I only worked 12-hour shifts, we worked 10-hour shifts. So there's 3 of us. There's 3. Yeah, back then they worked 10 hours. No, they worked 8-hour shifts, and there was 3 shifts. You had day shift, night shift, and midnight. Yeah, day shift, night shift, and early morning. You either worked 7 to 3, 3 to 11, or 11 to 7 in the morning. And I would always make sure I was covering the paramedic that was working the 7 to 3 shift. So when I was off, I could go to the beach. So it was what I called a working vacation. I got to go to the beach, because Ocean City was 3 hours away. I lived in the center of Maryland, and it was mountain, so I lived out in the mountain area of Maryland, and Ocean City was 3 hours away. So I would always try to make sure, so that way I could go, when I got off, I can go to the beach, go to the boardwalk, and stuff like that. Matter of fact, I had a girlfriend at the time. She was living with us, so she would actually get up, and I kept doing this for a couple of years. Then I had my living girlfriend one time, and she wanted to come, so we rented a we rented a hotel room. So I would go to work in the morning, and she did what she wanted to do she would take a vacation week from her job, and when I was at work I was at but when I got off work at 3, I got back. I usually got off at 3, and by 3:30 I was at the hotel room changing out of my uniform, and people would look at me funny because we had the hotel room that we waited, that we was right on the beach, and of course I had to take my vehicle, and she took her vehicle. I had to take my state vehicle with me, and they were trying to figure out, why is there a state trooper staying at the hotel on the beach? and they would see me in my uniform, go to work at 6:30. I would leave 6:30 in the morning, go to work, because it took about it took about 15 minutes from the hotel room to the aviation to the airport. It was about here we go. It was about a 15-minute ride from the hotel we stayed at all the time. And because I was a state trooper and a firefighter in the state, I got a 50% discount. And they would always put it under, because I was a firefighter. Back then, firefighters, businesses would get discounts. Most hotels give you a 50% discount. So we booked the room for a week, show my my fire department membership, and I could be in the fire department. I could get my 50% discount as a firefighter. So we saved money there. But I mean, things changed. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I should have became a state trooper, work on the aviation department, and stayed there. Unfortunately, my living girlfriend, who became my fiance, she was Filipino. She was a cute little girl. I miss her. Her name was Maria. And we decided to get married. But she wanted to get married in the Philippines, where her family was, where her mom and dad was. So what we planned was to get married in the Philippines, get married in the Philippines, where her parents were, and then come back to the United States and have a marriage ceremony for my relatives, for my mom and dad, and all my relatives that were here. Most of her relatives were over there. Her sister was here. She was a citizen of the She became a citizen of the United States. She came here on a student visa and went to the University of Maryland. Her sister moved to this country 10 years prior and got her citizenship and sponsored her sister to come to. She came here as a student and went to high school here in the United States, and she became she went to the University of Maryland, she wanted to get into public relations, so she got her degree she got her 4-year degree from the University of Maryland, and had a nice public relations job. But the day before we were getting ready to go on the plane to go to the Philippines, I got called to court on a case that I was on as a medic for the state, as a state trooper, and something came up, and I had to go to court. And there was on the day that we were supposed to leave. She hadn't seen her parents in about 2 years. So, and the wedding was going to be a week after we got there. So I told her to go ahead and go. Her sister was following a couple days later. So I booked a flight on the same flight her sister. So I said, I'll just travel with your sister. Because the sister was going to come. I said, I'll just travel with your sister. And you go spend some time, get caught up with your parents, spend some time with your parents. Well, the way our flight was, we were going to fly from Maryland to Tokyo. From BWI all the way to Tokyo, non-stop. Then from Tokyo, take another plane to Manila. Then from Manila, we had to take a smaller plane to another island to take a boat to go to where her village was, to another island, and there was no planes on that island. We had to take a boat from there to get there. Well, I came home. I was packing, getting things ready, and hadn't heard from. She was going to call me when she got to her parents' house, and it's about 2 days later. Because it was going to take about 2 days to get to from Maryland to her village. I hadn't heard from her. Didn't think anything twice. Maybe she got a layover in a longer layover in Tokyo or something like that. I didn't worry about it. Or she got stuck in Manila due to weather or something like that. I really didn't think about it that much. 2 days before her sister and I were going to get on board, her sister was going to meet me at the house, and then we were going to go to the airport from my house so she could park her car. She lived in an apartment, so she was going to park her car, and I lived in a house, so she was going to park her car in the garage so she wouldn't leave her car alone in the parking lot, and I was going to take my car, and we drove her to the airport, so I was just going to leave my car at the airport. And when we got back, we just hopped in my car instead of having her sister pick us up, because her sister, we were going to be in the Philippines for a month. And 2 days before we were supposed to leave, her sister came by the house. Now, her sister lived in Rockville. I lived in Frederick. Now, Rockville's in Montgomery County. Her sister lived about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on DC traffic. Rush hour traffic, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, you're here early. And she's like, no, I said, what's wrong? Because you could tell that she was very upset. She had some bad news to tell me. And I'm like, what news? Well, the airplane from Manila to the other island crashed in one of the mountains. There were no survivors. It was foggy, and the Philippine Islands are mountainous and volcanic. And pilot took off. It was clear, but when he was going over one of the islands, there was a lot of fog, and he was told to go around, and he didn't listen, and he crashed the plane into the side of one of the mountains. It took them a day to find the plane, and when they did, they found no survivors. I was supposed to be on that plane. I would have been dead. Maria was dead. And it hit me hard. We still had a flight to go to Philippines. So, and her parents wanted her to be buried there. So, instead of a wedding, I went to a funeral. And instead of taking, I still took the month off, but her sister had to go back to work, so we both flew back together to back to the States, back to Maryland. and she lived with me. So all her items were at my house that we lived in. So when we got back, I slowly started packing up her stuff to give to her sister. And she got some mail out, and it was from her doctor's office. So I called the doctor office. I didn't open the mail. I just called the doctor's office, told them, and they knew who I was. It was OBNGY. And they had some news, and they didn't know that she was dead yet. She said, "Well, is Maria there?" I said, "Well, no, Maria's not here. She's not with us anymore. She was killed in a plane crash." And I said, "Well, we were just following up on her. She had she had an appointment that she missed. She was supposed to have an appointment when she got back from the States." I said, "Yeah, okay." We were just making sure that she's going to attend it. I said, "Why? She saw you before she left." "Oh, you don't know." "Know what?" That she was 3 months pregnant. I was trying to figure out why she never told me she was pregnant. So she kept a diary. I opened up the diary. Sister came over and I found her diary, and her sister read the diary. I didn't want to know what was going on. And her sister read the diary to find out what was going on, because I wanted to keep good thoughts. I want to find out if she was cheating or something, and kept the pregnancy from me. And in the diary, her sister said that she found out that she was pregnant. And we were just living together. We weren't engaged yet. And she didn't want to tell me, but we were close to being engaged. And she kind of knew I was getting ready to pop the question, because I talked about it several times. She didn't want to get married at that time. But then when she found out she was pregnant, she did not want to feel like I had to marry her. She wanted me to marry her because I wanted to, and she didn't tell me she was pregnant because of that. And in the diary, she was going to tell me that she was pregnant when we got home. Before the ceremony, we were planning on having hair, but by then we would be married. She was debating whether or not to tell me while she was in the Philippines, but her plan was to tell me when we got back to the States. So that was a hard month. I lost a wife-to-be, and I lost an unborn child. So that's it. So let me go ahead and just end this up real quick. There we go. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button and bell. That way you know when the latest videos that I do come along. And as always, hit that like button. It'd be like I gets my videos seen a little bit more. And as always, be safe out there in the world. Have fun playing your games, and I'll see you in the next one.